Alright, in this lecture video, we're going to work on the gun mechanics and also the bullet mechanics. Okay, so in last tutorial video, I showed you how to pick up the gun from one of the cabinet, and then you're going to turn on the gun on hand, right? And right now, we are just using this sphere as a testing point. So now we're going to disable it or just delete it, and I'm going to use the real gun on the hand. Okay, so here let's go to the assets, let's go to the models folder, go to the guns folder, and let's bring in the gun model. Just drop it into the gun on hand folder, and let's see. So this is the camera, this is the gun. Yeah, it's quite small, so gonna make it bigger, and this is how it looks in the game view. So I think I'm gonna bring it this way, and make it even bigger. Okay, I think the location looks good to me. Okay, so now let's give it a material. So this is the material we created in last class. So let's just drop the material onto the gun. Here we go. Okay. And then let's right click on that and let's create a light, a spotlight. Okay, so we're gonna use the spotlight for aim point. Okay, right now as you can see, that is aiming to the opposite direction. Okay, so we're going to move it forward and change the x-axis to 180. Here we go. So this is how it looks. And bring it back a little bit. All right, and here the spot angle, I'm going to shrink it to 1, so it's going to be a straight line. As you can see how it looks, straight line. So right now I think it's aimed down a little bit, so I will give it an angle, let it tilt it up, so maybe 5. Yeah, so this is aimed to the front side. And okay, so right now it's not visible, so here we're going to change the settings. So first the color, I'm going to make it as red, and the range I'm going to do I think I'm going to do 60. Intensity I'm going to increase it, make 60 or 50. So now you should be able to see a red dot there. Do you see that? And this is the game view. So this is basically this is the aim point. Okay, so we shoot bullet, the bullet gonna hit on that point. Okay, so this is the spotlight, and so we're gonna rename it to aim point. Then here I'm gonna select the gun and create a 3D object, a plane. So we're gonna use this plane as a muzzle flash. So here I will go to the assets, go to the textures, and bring in the muzzle flash 1, 2, 3 texture into our gun folder. So here we go. So these are the textures. So here I'm gonna select the plane and rename it. So basically I can just copy the name here and rename the plane as muzzle flash 01 and rotate it by 90 degree on the x-axis and move it forward and make sure the center point is closer to the tip of the gun. Okay, I think I have to change this the dimension as well. So just make it a square shape, a little bit smaller, and then we'll create a material for the muzzle flash. Okay, so here right click and create a new material. So here you're gonna see muzzle flash 01 M stands for material, and apply the first texture image, which is muzzle flash 01. Okay, onto the material. Drop it in here. Drop it in here, and then I'm gonna change the shader of the material from standard to particle here, particles and particle additive. So here you can see that now it's transparent. So you can simply apply this material onto the plane. So this is how it looks. I kind of feel it's a bit small, so maybe make it slightly bigger. Okay, and I can also right click on the muzzle flash texture and create a light and create a point light. It's been cut off in the recording, so it's a point light here. So for this point light, what I'm gonna use it for is when we shoot, we have a muzzle flash texture, right? We also want to illuminate the environment. Okay, so that's the light is for. So here I'm gonna choose a orangish light, orangish color. The range is very hard to tell the effect, so I'm gonna temporarily turn off the light group so we can see the effect of this point light. So intensity, try about maybe 3, and range, let's try 30 is too much, or maybe okay, or maybe the intensity is too much. So let me try 1.5. Yeah, 1.5 as intensity. Range is 30, so we can illuminate an area. And so this is muzzle flash 01. Let's duplicate it, but hit Command D to duplicate it. And let's hide the original one. And let's rename the duplicate one as muzzle flash 02. Okay, and let's also select the muzzle flash 01 material. Select this one. Hit Command D to make a duplication. For the duplicate one, let's rename it as muzzle flash 02 M. And let's for the second material, let's drag the second texture onto it. Okay, and then select the muzzle flash 02 and apply the muzzle flash 2 texture onto it. So this is how it looks. I'll make sure I applied it. Yeah, here we go. Okay, and then let's go to its point light settings. So because our muzzle flash grow in the second frame, right, in the second texture, so the range I want to try 40, and the intensity I want to give it a 2 to just make it brighter. And then I'm gonna duplicate the muzzle flash 02 and rename it as 03, hide the original one. So you may already guess what I'm gonna do. So basically I'm gonna duplicate the second material and rename it as material muzzle flash 03 material. Okay, and I'm gonna replace the texture and then replace the material here. Okay, so now as you can see, the muzzle flash is fading out. So I'm gonna select the point light and change its intensity as 1 and range as 20. Okay, so the lights can also fade out. So these are the 3 muzzle flashes. Okay, and when we shoot, we also want to have a sound. Okay, so here let me turn off the muzzle flashes. Okay, so we want to have a sound. So I'm gonna select the gun, right click and create an empty object, and I'm gonna rename it as gun sound or gun firing sound. Anyway. So here I will go to my folders, the assets, and drop in the gun shot sound. Just bring it in here. So I just drop it in the gun folder, so just in case later on if I going to use other guns, different types of gun, So the specific sound for the specific gun, they're gonna stay together. Okay. All right. So now let's drop the sound onto the gun sound object. Let's turn off the play on wake. So that's it. All right. So now let's go back to the light gun control that we have created last time. Okay, so there's a few things that we want to change. So first is the gun. So the gun, last time we set as the gun testing object, right? So this will allow you to, let me show you. Whenever you press, let me give you more space. Okay, whenever you press R key, you're going to run this coroutine. So basically, you're going to turn the gun on or off, right? So this is what we have done last time. So here's a thing. If you're going to bring in more guns, you will be able to use this key, the R key, to switch the gun. So remember how we switch the flashlights? You press the C key, so we have a nice sequence number as a 3. So when you get a different number, you will be able to switch the different flashlights, right? So right now, because we only use one type of gun, so we only give the gun sequence the number as 1, so we only have 0 and 1 as a switch. Okay, so that's to see if you have 3 different guns, you can put the number here as a 3, and you can have 3 different options. And for the three different options, you can do what you have done for the flashlights to switch different guns. Okay, so that's it. So right now, since we only have one gun, okay, so what we're gonna do is select the light and gun. For the gun, instead of as the gun testing, we're gonna just plug in our handgun. Okay, so later on, if you have more and you create more channels here in the script, and you can do what you have done for the flashlights, so you're going to have different channels for different type of gun, and you're gonna assign them. Okay, so that's the advanced content. So for those of you who have basic understanding of scripting, I would encourage you to do that if you want. So here's the gun, and select the light and gun control. So here we're going to drop in another script. So we're going to bring in the fire gun script. All right, as the script is bring in, we're going to assign the fire gun script onto the light and gun control. So here we go. So we just have to assign each object to here. So the gun basically is the gun here, and muzzle flash are here. And the gunshot sound is here. All right, so now in order to get it to work, the last thing we have to do is create an animation to shoot the gun. Okay, I'm gonna go to the animation tab and select the first, sorry. So we have to go to the assets, go to the gun folder. So whenever we create animation, the animation gonna be saved inside of this folder. Then go to the animation tab, select our gun, and create a new animation clip. So here we can rename it as gun enemy or anything you want to rename. But later on, the name convention in the gun animation controller matters. I'm gonna explain that later. So here inside of the animation tab, we're gonna enable the keyframe. We're gonna go to frame 5 or 6 and select it and hit EK for rotation. We're gonna twist it, rotate it up, and W key for move it up. So this is the game view. Oh, nothing is showing because we have disabled the light group, right? So let's just enable it so we can see it better. Okay, so now let's go back to our gun. And since I just created 6 keyframes is just to close it. Okay, so let me just enable the keyframe again. And so this is the animation I just created. Okay, I think I'm gonna move it more. Then let's get more time. So maybe we're gonna go to frame 20. Okay, frame 20. And we're going to copy the first keyframe, the position and rotation keyframe. So Command C, copy. And as our current timeline is at 20 frames, just Command V to paste the keyframes. So this is the whole cycle. Okay, then here we can just stop recording. All right, then go to the projects section and select the animation you just created. Check off loop time. Okay, and then go to its animation controller, this one, which is, if you select the model, you can also find it here, animation controller. Okay, double click to open it. And this is the same as the door animation, so we don't want the animation to play by default. We want the animation to be played by code. Okay, so here we're going to create an empty state and make this empty state as the default state. So when we start the game, the gun will not play the animation. Instead, it's going to just stay on this empty state. And then this animation, we want it to be called. So how to call it? So let's see if I go to the light and gun control. If I double click on the fire gun script, so here we go. Okay, so the animation name gonna be this. So you can just copy this part, gunshot enemy, GSA caplocked. Okay, so the name of the animation clip should be exactly matching what I referenced in the script. Otherwise, the script will not be able to locate the animation clip. Okay, so here's the firing gun script. Basically, when we press down the fire 1 key, so in Unity, by default, the mouse left key is fire 1 key. So if you press mouse left key, you're gonna start this quarantine. So what's gonna happen is you're going to grab the gun and get its component, the animator component, and you're gonna play this animation clip. You're gonna also play the gunshot sound. And then you're gonna play the 3 textures, the muzzle flash textures in sequence. See, you're gonna play the first one first, and then wait for 0.02 seconds, and then you're gonna play the second image, and then another 0.02 seconds, you're gonna play the third image. All right, and then you're gonna switch the gun's animation back to the empty state. So that's it. All right. So now let's see, we have everything here. Yeah, so now it should work. I have to run this whole sequence in order to get everything. All right, now it tells me press R to switch to my gun, and I have the aim point, and if I hit my mouse left key, it start to shoot. Okay, works perfect. And next step, we're gonna add the bullet, the actual bullet that's gonna hit object. Okay, so here I'm gonna select my aim point, press F key. Oops, I have to go back to the scenes folder. Okay, press F key, focus my view on it, and then I'm gonna right click and create an empty object. So this empty object, I'm gonna see bullet generator. And then once you've done that, you can grab the bullet generator outside of the endpoint group. The only reason that why we right click on that, create empty object, is because we want their axis to be exactly the same. See, the Z axis, the blue one, is aimed to the exact same direction as the endpoint. Okay, so do not move it in the scene, do not change its position, because they are matched. Okay, so now for bullet generator object, we're going to grab a script as well. So here I have a script for it. So bring in the Boolean generator script into the scene. All right, so now the script is loaded. So let's select the Boolean generator, drop the Boolean generator script on it. As you can see, the only variable we have to assign is the Boolean. Okay, so now let's create the Boolean. Let's select the Boolean generator, right click on that, and create a 3D object, a sphere. So here we go. Okay, the size, right now the size really doesn't matter. You can make it smaller, but right now the size doesn't matter. We're gonna change it later anyway. So but the name and material matters. So here we're going to rename it as Boolean. Let's rename it Boolean model. And then here I will tag it as a specific tag, and later on I'm gonna reference that tag in my later script. Okay, so here let's just add a tag. Let's create a new tag as Boolean. So make sure caps lock B and the letter should be spelled exact same as what I spelled, because later I'm gonna reference it. Okay, so then select the Boolean model and tag it as the new tag we have created. Okay, and then here go to the models folder, go to the guns folder, and let's right click and create a new material. Rename the new material as Boolean M, and change the color as yellowish or orangish color, and assign this material onto the Boolean model. Okay, so here's the thing. We want this Boolean to shine in the darkness. But right now, if I turn off the light, as you can see, the Boolean will not be visible. Okay, so what we can do is we can assign a self-illumination material to it. So basically we come back to its material, go to the search bar here, so we can just search self-illumination. So it already pump up all of the options we have. So I would, maybe I'll try diffuse. Okay, self-illumination, diffuse. And here you can see that it's already been illuminated. So now if I turn off the light group, see, it's shine in the darkness. So that's what we want to do. All right, so now I'm going to go back to the Boolean model. Because later on we're going to use this Boolean to trigger other object to have a function. For example, use this Boolean to hurt zombie, use this Boolean to kill zombie. So we will need it to interact with other object. In order to do that, we need to create a something called ring and body. So ring and body will allow the object to interact with other object. So here, the only thing we have to change is check off use gravity. Okay, once we have done all of this, we have finished this Boolean setup. So we can just drag it and drop it into the folder, okay, the gun folder. And by doing that, you will see that the Boolean have been turned to a blue color. So that means it has been changed to a prefab. And also here you can see that we created a prefab. So what prefab does is you can understand this as a group. So this group contains the model itself as well as anything we have assigned. For example, the Boolean tag we have assigned, and also the material that we have assigned. So if you have any script you created, you can also include it here. Okay, see the ring body we created is also here. So next time you want to use the whole group, so you can simply just grab this prefab into the scene, so it already includes everything. Okay, so here I'm gonna delete it. We don't need that. And I'm gonna also delete the Boolean model we created here. Okay, so I'm gonna delete it. Why? Because we already have the prefab created, and I want to use a script to call it to generate it. So that is what we have here, Boolean generator. See the Boolean generator script. So it has a Boolean option. So we're gonna just assign the prefab to here. Okay, so later on, you may notice that the bootnet is too big. We may need to change the size of it. Okay, but we can test it for now. But I don't want to go through the whole sequence to test it. So here we can just do a workaround with it. So we can just select the gun and hit Command D to make a duplication. Bring this out of the gun on hand. So we're gonna just use this for testing purpose. Okay, so now if we start to play, and because the gun under the gun on hand folder is been disabled, we have to go through the cabinet to pick it up, right? But since we have duplication, so we can just use this one for testing purpose. Okay, so now if I shoot, see, that's huge. And don't worry, it wouldn't have a sound because the sound has to be called by a script, and since we just disabled it. Okay, so so the bootnets are huge, so we can interactively change it here. So if you select this guy and maybe put as 0.05, and let's see if it's good size. Yeah, it's a small. Yeah, I like that size. Good. All right. So now, because I was changing the prefab, I was changing the model, so that's why I was in play mode, and change it is fine. But remember that don't change any of the stuff in the scene while you're in play mode. Otherwise, when you exit the play mode, all of the changes you have made will disappear. Okay, that's a common issue some of you had before. Okay, so that's a bullet, and let me see. Okay, so next step, we're going to work on the zombie. So this is the model, the zombie model we're going to use for our class. I created this model for my 3D animation class. And for our course, because we're going to use as a zombie, right? So I just modify the texture to make it as a zombie character. Okay, so basically what I have done is, underneath that is the original texture. So I just put a bunch of stuff, onto the clothes, the body, and for all the blood texture, I use the blending mode as a multiply. So that's what I've done. So for those who really want to explore this, really want to understand the whole story, you can create your own texture. So here I already included all of the assets inside here. Okay, so feel free to create your own texture if you wish. So here we're going to just use the old lady diffuse map, the V2, which is zombie texture. Okay, and the normal map. So we're gonna just use these two texture map for our model. Okay, so next few steps I'm gonna show you how to ring your model and animate your model. Okay, so it sounds interesting, right? For those who don't have any experience on animation, if this is new to you, so basically ringing is a process of creating skeleton for your model. So this is a skeleton. Okay, so you need to create a skeleton for your model, then you will be able to animate it. Okay, so here we're gonna use a tool called Mixmo. So if you just search mixmo.com and then log in with your Adobe account, you should have a license to use their service. Okay, since I already uploaded the character here, so it shows in this way. But if I just click on here, okay, so if you just get to the website here, it should allow you to upload a character file model. So here we're going to upload, see the name convention, we're going to upload Ordinary Step 1 original pose. So we're going to upload it here and just give it a moment to process the model. And once it's done, you're gonna pump up this window, see if the character orientation is good or not, and you can adjust it. Okay, but because I created this model, it doesn't have any issue with it, so we can just process it. Okay, so mix mode really made the ringing process very easy. All you have to do is reference this map and assign the waist joint, the elbow joint, the waist joint and elbow joint onto your character. And then that's it. That's that simple. So if you want to create a professional ringing system for your character, it could take a few days to do it. Okay, so here the standard for the skeleton, we're going to choose the standard, which is 65, use symmetry, and process it. Once it's finished processing, now you're going to preview your character. So for the character's body, it's good. The face has a slight distortion, so for those who knows Maya, you can fix it by fix the ringing. But for our gaming purpose, I think this is totally good. This is enough. Okay, so we can just click on next and next. Okay, so now before you move it forward, I want you to download. So we're going to download the ringed model. So click on download, and the format, just use the FB. Okay, FB format. And then the pose, we're going to choose original pose and download. So just to make sure you follow the exact same step as what I do. So I'm gonna just show you how to get everything kind of organized. Okay, so so for the file you have downloaded, make sure you rename it. Let me move it here. Okay, so this is the file I just downloaded. Okay, so now we're gonna rename it as a step 2, ringed. Okay. So later on, we're going to import this into Unity for our project. So let me tag it as a yellow so I'm able to identify which one is that. Okay, so this is the ringed. And then we can choose different animations. So first one, I want to give it a run animation. So let's see, maybe zombie run. Okay, yeah, this is more relevant. That's interesting. Okay, so I'm gonna just use this one. And now you can see that the character is moving forward instead of staying in place, because in Unity we will use a script to move the character and let the character follow our player, right? So I want it to stay in place. And you can adjust the settings, for example, the energy, if we want it to be more kind of aggressive. Yeah, I like it. Overdrive, let me try 0. Oh, that's too slow. Oh, it's too fast. Yeah. I'll just put it back to 50. Okay, arm space, you can make it bigger, but okay, in order to save time, I'll done with that. So here, so now as we have added the first animation, right? So we can just click on download. But here for the setting, here's important thing. We want to download without skin. So what this means is you're gonna download only the skeleton of the model, not the model itself included. Okay, so you'll only download the skeleton without the model. Why we're doing that is because the model ringed will have the original model, all of the vertices, right? And for any of the animation we're gonna use, like the run animation, the death animation, the attack animation, we'll only download the skeleton. So that's to see when we import all of this into Unity, we're gonna save a lot of space because we will only import the model once. Does that make sense? So for all of the animation, we will only import the skeleton and use the skeleton to drive the model. Okay, so here without skin, and the frame per second, we're gonna use 60, and keyframe reduction as none, and download. And as you have downloaded the file, the animation, as you can see the file size, the ringed model has 1.6 megabyte, but the animation only have 381 KB, because it only has a skeleton and animation info. So here I want to rename it by change it to step 3 run. Okay, so you're gonna follow this procedure, and here I'm gonna search for attack. You're gonna follow this procedure to assign different animation to it, and then download the animation. So attack, I'm gonna just grab, I'm gonna just use this one. Maybe make her a little bit more aggressive, and download without skin, and setting, all of the settings are the same. So download, and then I'm going to, once it's finished downloading, okay, and then I'm gonna rename it to step 3 attack. Okay, so you're gonna follow this step to get all the other different animation clips. So how many animation clips you need to get? Attack, run, idle. Okay, find one of those that interest you, and hit. So you can search for hit, which is get hurt. Okay, for example, this guy. Okay, so when we shoot the zombie gonna have this reaction. Okay, and then you're gonna also search for zombie death. So the zombie gonna die when you shoot her several times. You can also remove the zombie, so you will have more options. See, the death animation, you're gonna have more options. Heat, you're gonna also have more options. Alright, so I'm gonna pause the video here. I'm gonna allow you to choose the animation yourself. So now I have the attack animation, the death animation, the hurt, the idle, and the run. So 5 different animation cycles. And also I have the original, the ringed model. And now I'm done with the mix mode, so I can close it. So now let's bring in our model into Unity. So here, let's go to the models. So let's create a folder. Okay, so what we're going to import here are the ringed model and all of the 5 different animation clips and the texture maps. Okay, so drag them in here. Oops. You'll see the texture has some issue, the normal map has some issue. Just click on fix. So here we go.